published pursuant to the Brown Act? Dr. Abraham?
Yes, that is correct. I'm here.
And is there anyone present in the room with you at this very moment?
No, not right now.
Okay, very well. Thank you very kindly, sir. All right, before we move forward, I'd like to just simply reference, we have two attorneys, and so who's representing the petitioner?
Curtis Coleman.
Pleasure to see you, sir. Happy New Year. Who's representing?
Same to you.
Respondent?
Erica Chavez for the executive officer.
All right, Ms. Chavez. Madam Clerk or Mr. Clerk, our tag teaming clerks, do we have any individuals on the line desirous of providing public comment or evidentiary testimony? Let the record reflect that no one has sought recognition in person to provide general public comment or evidentiary testimony. Okay, we have a series of exhibits, and so I did look at the minute order, but I just wanted to make sure there's some clarification here. So we have the proposed variance conditions would be exhibit. Which exhibit is that?
B, C, that would be on behalf of the executive officer.
Okay, so that exhibit is B. The proposed short variance conditions is exhibit B. Then are there, let me see, there are no additional exhibits. Mr. Coleman, did you provide any additional?
Yes, we did. There are 4 additional exhibits.
So what threw me off, so we're referencing these documents here, correct?
Correct.
Okay, because there's some exhibits 24, 29, et cetera, so that's not.
That's not our
germane. Okay,
case.
very well, all right.
Yes, ours would start with exhibit 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Okay, walk us through.
Yes, the top sheet, Alliance Technical Group at the top, it says page 1 in the bottom right corner. Or page I, little I, that would be exhibit 4.
And this is the Alliance page, which at the bottom it says page 2 of 70.
Yes.
Okay, very well. The next.
Actually, yeah.
Okay, the next.
The next one is Alliance Technical Group at the top. It says page 24 of 70 at the bottom.
Okay. That's
That would
exhibit 5.
exhibit 5.
All right.
Then we have Alliance Technical Group, a letter dated January 20th, 2025, to address to Nicole Idiart, and that would be exhibit 6.
Okay.
And then finally, we have an email thread that says the name at the top is Pietro Cambioso from Peter Cove to Ken Kumar. And there are several emails in there that all relate to the testing, but that will be exhibit 7.
Okay, and I assume both sides.
Yes, I provided copies to.
Yes. Now, how many folks will be testifying on the petitioners? 4 on the petitioner side. How about the respondent?
I don't anticipate calling anybody.
Okay, very well. So why don't we go ahead and administer the oath to the 4 individuals you referenced who will be providing testimony. All right. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly state under penalty of perjury that the evidence that you show given this matter should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you very kindly. Let the record reflect that all of them acknowledged that they are in receipt of the oath. Okay, Mr. Coleman, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you all. I hope you're doing well and survive the tragic fires. Terrible. We were last here on December 2nd for an interim variance hearing. And at that time, as you'll recall, the source testing firm that had been retained to do the source testing, which was Alliance Technical Group, had stopped any further testing due to safety concerns of the temperature from the flare while they were trying to do the work. And at that interim variance hearing, we described two compliance pathways that would be pursued. One was to get some specifications for a shroud extension from the flare manufacturer, and then fabricate and install that shroud and have testing completed by Alliance or some other contractor as soon as possible. The other pathway would be to find another source testing contractor that could do the testing without the need for a shroud extension, and then again, do that as soon as possible. Well, as it turns out, Lyles, the contractor who was responsible for installing the flare and arranging for the source testing, did find another source testing firm that could actually do it sooner than Alliance could do a retest. And furthermore, they did not need to have a shroud extension fabricated and installed. They could do it without that. So December 30th contract was let to, I should say that they could not find any source testing firm that could do it in the latter part of December. Not surprising, but the earliest that they could get someone on site to check it out and prepare was January 6th, and to start the testing on January 13th. And that was a firm called Energy Environmental Solutions Incorporated. They could do the testing sooner than Alliance could, and they would not need a shroud extension to do the testing, and they would follow the approved protocol. Energy Environmental Solutions, which I will refer to as EES throughout the proceeding, actually started the testing on January 13th. And all of the testing has been completed with one exception, and that is the testing for polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs. And the problem that was encountered was that the protocol said that a lab named Atmospheric Analysis and Consulting, Inc. in Ventura would do the sample analysis and provide certain sampling equipment to the source testing company for the PAH testing. And when EES contacted that lab to make arrangements, they learned that that lab does not do that type of testing as required in accordance with the method specified in the protocol, which is CARB method 429. So clarification was sought from the district during that week. This is the week of the 13th, about one, do we need to do the testing? And two, if we do, no one knows that we, IEUA, and the testing company did not know of a lab that was certified to do PAH testing, either by the district or by CARB. And as it turns out, apparently there are no labs that are certified to do that testing, but there's one lab in North Carolina that can do that testing and has done that testing, and that the results, if the samples are analyzed by that lab, that will be acceptable to the district. Well, since that date, the EES has been trying to get in touch with that lab. The lab's name is Enthalpy Analytics in Wilmington, North Carolina, to make arrangements to get the sampling equipment and to handle the logistics of getting the samples once they're collected back to them for analysis. But so far, they have not been able to make contact with them, and they're trying even today. So that is the dilemma we find ourselves in. The testing itself, you'll hear testimony, will take a minimum of 6 days and up to 12 days, depending on if something happened and you have to start sampling over again, do it over again. These are very, it's a long sampling period. It's a complicated sample procedure. So Mr. Kumar, you'll hear from him. He's the president, CEO of EES. He's been doing source testing for 27 years, very competent in the field. He's confident he can do the testing, get it done, but first he needs to make contact with the lab, get the specialized sampling equipment that's specified in the protocol, and then within 6 to 12 days, get the testing done and get the samples off to the lab. Because of the uncertainty at this point, in terms of knowing when we can even start the testing, how long it's going to take to get the sampling equipment from North Carolina to here, and when he can even start the testing. At this point, we are requesting a short variance for 45 days until March 14th. Obviously, the condition would be do it as quickly as possible, but no later than March 14th, 2025. The only thing I can add is that there are some preliminary results for NOx and CO testing that did not require lab analysis, and those show that there were that the flare is well within the permit requirements and the rule requirements. So at this point, we still believe there are no excess emissions. As I indicated, there has been regular communication between IEUA, EES, and the district source testing staff. We have the exhibit you have in the email thread will indicate what that entailed. And also the IEUA has been providing the weekly reports as required by the variance condition. We did have one issue, another issue with Alliance. As you know, the variance required as a condition that the Alliance, that IEUA provide a preliminary or summary source test report to the district staff by, I think it was January 9th. And Alliance had been requested to provide that numerous times, both in writing and orally during meetings. They did not produce it. We advised the district staff on January 9th that they had not produced it, went back to Alliance, and they finally agreed to provide a report, which you can't call it a report. It was basically that one paragraph letter that is in your exhibit packet, which says they tested and didn't get any results, and no lab analyses. So I think, technically that was a violation of that condition, even though Mr. Van der Zee tried his best to get a report out of Alliance. IEUA did get a notice of violation for that, so we expect there will be follow-up on that. But other than that, all the conditions that were imposed in the interim variance were complied with. And we have, as I said, the presentation may be a little choppy because I've got Mr. Van der Zee to bring you up to date since what has happened since the December 2nd hearing. I've got Ms. Sarah Racinto, who was the person who originally, who was the author of the email and started that email chain to provide foundation for those emails. And then we have Ken Kumar, the president and CEO of EES, to testify about what he needs and what the issues are with regard to the PAH sampling. And then finally, we will conclude with Mr. Cambioso, who was a witness last time, and he is authorized to tell the hearing board that the conditions the district are proposing are acceptable and verify the need for the March 14th compliance date.
All right, thank you, Ms. Chavez.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair, members of the board. As council stated, we were previously here in December for the interim variance, and the district requests that the evidence presented at that hearing be incorporated into this short variance hearing.
No objection.
The district has submitted updated proposed conditions for the short variance hearing. We removed two conditions from the interim variance that had, the deadline had already passed. So the conditions are otherwise identical to the conditions that were ordered at the interim. The district does not anticipate calling any witnesses today, but I do have staff from compliance and enforcement and engineering and permitting on call in case there are questions. And subject to the evidence presented today, the district does not anticipate opposing the granting of this variance. Thank you.
Mr. Coleman, your first witness.
Yes, thank you. I call Tyler Vanderzee. Mr. Vanderzee, would you please state your name and spell your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Tyler Vanderzee. It's Tyler. Vanderzee is Vanderzee.
And you're still employed by WM Lyles Company?
Yes.
Okay. Can you please describe what's happened with regard to source testing and the flares at the RP1 facility since the last hearing in December?
As I testified at that hearing, we followed up with two approaches to getting the testing done as soon as possible. One approach was to fabricate a shroud extension to add to the flare to provide additional heat protection. To that end, I requested the flare manufacturer to design a shroud extension and send me plans that would enable a shroud to be fabricated. I received the plans, but before I could arrange for the fabrication of the shroud, we determined that the alternative approach would be better. The other approach was to see if we could get another source testing company to perform the source testing without the need for a shroud. We contacted several source testing companies. None of the companies we contacted could do the testing in December. Even the company that we'd originally contracted with, Alliance, was not able to confirm availability in January of 2025. However, one company that we already had under contract for us to work at other facilities advised us that they could do the testing in January and would not need a shroud extension to do that. So we dropped the plans for a shroud extension and contracted with this company, Energy Environmental Solutions, on December 30th, 2024 to perform the testing in January. During the week of January 6th, 2025, EES personnel visited the RP1 facility and did prep work for the testing, and then the testing commenced on January 13th.
So it was January 13th, the earliest date that you could get any source testing firm to begin testing?
Yes.
Now, has the source testing been completed?
My understanding is that all testing has been completed except for the testing for the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs.
And why was that testing not completed?
I have a layman's explanation, which I will provide, but we also have Ken Kumar from the source testing company here to testify regarding the reason that PAH testing has not been completed. The source testing protocol submitted to AQMD and approved identified Atmospheric Analysis and Consulting, Inc. as a lab that would provide some of the sampling equipment and do the PAH analysis as required by CARB method 429.
Yes. I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 4. Is that a true and correct copy of page small I or 2 of 70 of the source testing protocol?
Yes.
And the area highlighted in yellow under a italicized title of Analytical Laboratories, does that show Atmospheric Analysis and Consulting, Inc. as one of the labs that was specified as being able to do analysis in the under the protocol?
Yes.
Okay. Now, later on in the protocol, when you get to, I guess, section 3.10, CARB method 429, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, Page 314 of the protocol, or 24 of 70 at the bottom, that has been marked as Exhibit 5. Is that a true and correct copy of the portion of the protocol dealing with how the analysis of, or the sampling and analysis of polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons are to be done?
Yes,
Okay. And there are a couple of highlighted sentences in that on page 2. One says filters and resin cartridges will be pre-cleaned and screened for contamination by AAC in Ventura, California. Is AAC, is that the Alliance Analytical that's referred to, excuse me, Atmospheric Analysis and Consulting Inc. that's referred to on the previous exhibit?
yes,
Okay. So is it your understanding that filters and resin cartridges being pre-cleaned and screened is an obligation of the lab that's doing the analysis, and those will be provided to the testing company, which then will use those to collect samples?
that is my understanding.
Okay. And then further down the page, it talks about the source testing company collecting and recovering the samples and then being delivered in ice chests packed with blue ice to AAC in Ventura, California for analysis. That indicates that there is going to be some special handling that's going to be required in terms of delivering the samples to the lab that does the analysis.
Yes,
Okay. So was there to your knowledge, was there an attempt, was there any contact made with atmospheric analysis and consulting to get the required equipment and make arrangements for the sampling, the analysis to be done, excuse me?
yes.
Okay. So what happened?
So when our new source testing contractor, EES, contacted atmospheric analysis, they found that atmospheric analysis could not do the PAH testing as required by CARB method 429. Additionally, they could not find any lab certified by SC, AQMD, or CARB for doing PAH analysis. At that point, IUA personnel reached out to Peter Coe of SC, AQMD source testing staff on January 16 for assistance and clarification. With Mr. Coe's assistance, on January 17, EES was able to identify the lab in North Carolina that could do the analysis, but EES is still trying to arrange for the equipment and logistics needed to get the samples taken and shipped to North Carolina for analysis.
Mr. Kumar is here today and he can provide more details on that?
Yes.
Okay. And he can also provide more details on any schedule for completing source testing?
Correct.
Okay. Following the December hearing, did you request Alliance, the former source testing contractor, to prepare a source test report covering the work done on November 13th and 14th, 2024?
Yes, on several occasions, both written and in person. I followed up again prior to the January 9th, 2025 deadline for providing that report. Alliance did not provide us with any report prior to that deadline, and I provided an explanation letter to AQMD staff on January 9. Alliance had been removed from the source testing responsibility by the end of December, but I did go back to Alliance after January 9 and reiterated the request for a report. Finally, on January 20th, I received a one-page letter from Alliance in response to these requests. We supplied that letter to AQMD staff as soon as we received it, but it contains consistent information as what I provided in the January 9th letter, no reportable data, and it was late.
And is that letter, true and correct copy of that letter, previously been marked as Exhibit 6?
Yes.
Okay. At this point, I have no further questions for Mr. Vanderzee.
Ms. Chavez on cross?
Sure, just a couple things. Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify. So Alliance Technical Group first told you that atmospheric analysis and consulting was available to do the CAR method 429? And then, oh, is that right?
They included it in their report or in the submittal.
Okay,
sorry,
so
not the
it
report,
was your
the submittal.
understanding that the Ventura Atmospheric Analysis and Consulting, Inc. was going to be available to do the lab work?
Yes.
And then when you contacted Atmospheric Analysis and Consulting, Inc., they directly told you, we can't do that.
EES directed them, contacted them, but that's what I was told is that they couldn't do it.
Oh, EES, the source tester
Yes.
contacted them and said, no, okay. And then the source tester will be able to provide more information as to why.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Members of the hearing board? Mr. Balakapalan.
Morning, Mr. Anderson.
Morning.
I just want to clarify a few things. I know the variance was granted to the interim for 2 flares, and the third one has not been constructed
It has not been commissioned yet, started up.
yet, so the testing will be later.
Correct.
So right now, it's still those 2 you're seeking the variance from. Okay.
Correct.
I know Mr. Coleman mentioned he's seeking the variance until March 14. However, I think because it's 90 days and it counts from the date of the interim variance will be March 3rd. Is that going to be a problem to come into compliance by March 3rd? Because we count back from the date of the 90 days is from the date of the interim variance.
Gosh, I was always understanding that an interim variance can be granted up to 90 days, but that's only until a short variance can be heard. And then a short variance that you don't tack on the part of the interim variance to the short variance, that the short variance can be granted for 90 days. It's been noticed for up to 90 days. Otherwise, we would notice. But you can answer the question, where we stand right now. Is that the problem?
As long as we hear back from the lab, that shouldn't be a problem.
It'll be March 3rd. Okay, it's on March 14th. Okay.
Well, do we know that that's correct?
Huh?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but do we know that that's correct?
Yeah, we always have it counts from the date of the interim. variance, the
I know
90
that, but
Yeah.
here we are with a short variance, and is that short variance, the definition of the short variance and the days is because it's most recent, is that going to take over and start the clock again,
No,
or
no, it doesn't.
we're going back to the interim?
Yes, we do. In the past, it's always been at the interim. And I think the Madam Clerk had confirmed that, but I don't want to put on the spot. But if you look at the table that was given, that is the proper, so you don't get an additional 90 days from today's date. So March 3rd would be the 90 days from the date of the interim variance.
So I'm going to step out and do something that's a little irregular. I want to hear both sides. Mr. Balakapalan has proffered a point for which I believe you guys have an opportunity to respond. So I'll go with Mr. Coleman first and then Ms. Chavez.
I don't know that we have to. I thank you for the opportunity to respond. Might I suggest that we get through the testimony and then maybe at some point we could break and I can confer with counsel and we can see if we can agree or provide, if we disagree, we can each argue our case, but rather than break everything up to harp on a legal matter that may or may not be an issue, let's get through the testimony and then we can deal with the legal issue sort of at the back end of things. Does that make sense?
I have no qualms. Ms. Chavez, would you concur?
Yes.
Mr. Perry, your thoughts, perspectives? Very well. All right. Any more questions of the board?
I
Ms.
did.
Peralta,
Yes.
floor is yours, ma'am.
I'm trying to understand why there was such a problem of getting a company to do the testing. I can't believe that you're the one and only company that this is such a unique situation or that the shroud material is so unique. And in reading all of the information, that was what really stood out in my mind. Why every other company who's come before us and has had similar situation, they've been able to do it. So what really is the problem? Is it just the timing? Or is it about the type of flare? Or is it the type of material for the shroud? I understand that part of the safety, they had to be at least 5 feet back. I understand that. But I don't understand why this is such a unique situation that it came to this point.
This is the overall testing, right? Not just the PAH we're talking about. At the time we initially started the testing with Alliance, we didn't think it would be an issue until they came on site. And obviously had the safety concerns. And that's where, as I stated, we started reaching out to other source testers who don't seem to have as many difficulties with this testing. They've worked with this vendor's supplier of flares before. So yes, for the other companies, it wasn't as much of an issue, and we weren't aware it was going to be an issue for Alliance when they initially showed up until they did the initial test.
And there's only one company in the United States that does that type of testing. So all of these other companies who had a similar situation have only been able to go to that one company?
May I clarify something? We're talking about two things. Let me, can I ask him a question? I think I'll get your answer.
Okay.
Mr. Van der Zee, the one company that we're talking about doesn't do sample collection, right? It's not actually doing the source testing. Is that correct? The one in North Carolina?
No, the North Carolina one does not do the source testing.
Right. So EES, which is the issue that Alliance had with the initial testing, is it your understanding that had to do with the equipment that they had to do the testing that was not particularly suited to testing that type of flare?
Yes,
Okay. And you found another company, EES, that has equipment that can do the testing on the flare without a shroud.
correct.
And then once they do the testing, in order to do the testing for PAHs, they need special sample collection equipment, and then they have to send it to a lab that knows how to do the analysis.
Correct.
And so far, between IEUA, the district source testing staff, and EES, only one lab has been identified that can do that analysis.
Correct.
And that is Enthalpy Analytics in North Carolina.
Correct.
Okay, so they aren't actually doing the testing, they're just doing the analysis of the samples.
Yes.
I understand all of that. It's not that I didn't
Oh, I'm
understand that.
sorry.
It's that it's hard for me to believe that all of these companies that are in the same situation of source testing and they go to this point, to this level, that there's just one company that does this in the whole United States.
I think Mr. Kumar can enlighten
Okay,
you on that, but apparently it's not that common. That's why.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Pearman,
So just clarify, maybe the witness said, or Mr. Coleman, his opening said, but I thought they said they complete the source test for everything except the PAH. Is that true?
Correct.
Now, the proposed conditions don't limit the source testing or retesting the PAH. So do you have to, just because the mechanics of it, test everything again? Or is the problem that Alliance didn't give you the proper report verifying the completed source test, or what?
Sorry, I'm not sure how
Is
Alliance
the only
ties in.
source test you have to do for PAH, and so should the conditions say that's what you're testing specifically for as opposed to the whole broad source test? Just trying to understand what's going to go on. If you know.
I can say we can agree that the only thing that they have to test for is PAHs. They aren't going to have to retest anything else. I think the conditions were drafted because until the PAH testing is completed, the source test itself as a bundle of tests has not been completed adequately.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
Any additional questions from members of the board? All right. Mr. Coleman, your next witness?
Yes, call Ms. Sarah Jacinto. Ms. Jacinto, please still state your name and spell your name for the record.
Sarah Recinto, SARAH RECINTO.
And were you sworn as a witness a few moments ago?
Yes,
You understand you're testifying under oath?
yes.
And what is your position with Inland Empire's Utilities Agency?
I'm a senior associate engineer. Senior associate engineer.
And were you given the responsibility of contacting South Coast District personnel in connection with PAH testing required by the flare permits after EES began source testing on January 13th, 2025?
Yes,
And whom did you contact and how was that contact made?
I sent an email to Peter Coe in source testing and Nicole Idiar, our permitting engineer, on January 16th.
And we've had a let's see. We had an email thread. Let's see, was that marked as Exhibit 7, right? Yes, with Pietro Cambioso at the top. Is that a true and correct copy of various emails that originated with the one you sent on January 16th and finalized with an email received from Peter Coe on Friday, January 17th?
Yes,
Okay. And what was the purpose of your original email on the 16th?
it was to get clarification on the testing requirements for PAH.
Okay, and was that, were you concerned, was IEUI concerned about how to proceed when you learned that the Atmospheric Analysis and Consulting Inc. could not do the sample analysis or provide sampling equipment?
Yes,
Okay. Was there also a question raised as to whether you even needed to do PAH sampling given the characteristics of that flare?
yes,
Okay. Did the district verify that, yes, you needed to do PAH sampling?
yes.
Okay. And at that point, did you inquire of the district source testing people, specifically Mr. Coe, as to whether he was aware of any companies that could do that analysis for PAHs?
Yes,
Okay. And did he eventually identify a company that he knew of that, without recommending it, at least knew they could do it?
yes,
Okay. And was that Enthalpy Analytics in North Carolina?
yes.
Okay. Uh, is it your understanding that Mr. Kumar, who's with EES, had additional discussions with Mr. Coe regarding the testing?
Yes,
Okay, that and Mr. Kumar will be able to testify regarding that.
yes,
Okay. Now, have you been the person responsible for sending the weekly reports to South Coast District staff as required by the variance conditions?
yes,
And have you done that in a timely manner?
yes, except for a source test report on the preliminary testing done on November 13th and 2024, as described by Mr. Vanderzee.
Okay, so that was not done in a timely manner.
Yes,
Has IAUA complied with all the other conditions specified in the variance order?
yes.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Ms. Chavez on cross.
No questions, thank you.
Members of the hearing board,
Yes.
Mr. Buttercup-Line.
Mr. Rosento, referring to Exhibit 7, your email, I mean, the email chain, you mentioned, I think in the email, there was a correspondence from CARP confirmed there are no current contractors, and you attached that email. So what, and I know it's not attached, but what specifically did they say? There's, in that email, there's nobody certified in the state for method 429?
That's correct.
And did they say as of when? Because
No, they did not.
what did they say that as specific, do you recall or do you have that document?
Did, maybe Mr. Okay, I don't know. Can I have a second?
Sure.
The CARB website also has, similar to AQMD, where it has a list of approved contractors for specific methods. There were none listed for 429 as well.
29. And neither does the AQMD have that either, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So then how did they, in their source test protocol, indicate that they will be, they will be testing for method 429 and got approved by their agency, do you know?
I don't know.
Okay, all right. Thank you. No further question.
Okay,
Any
we
additional
can probably
questions?
add that to legal discussions, but at the end too, but, yeah, okay,
Are
that's,
there any additional questions from members of the hearing board? Okay. Thank you very kindly. Your next witness, sir?
yes, we'll have to change, play, musical chairs here. Ken, you come up? Pietro. Yeah. Let me get my stuff together here. Okay. Call Mr. Ken Kumar. Mr. Kumar, will you please state your name and spell your name for the record?
My first name is Ken, K-E-N. Last name is K-U-M-A-R.
And were you sworn as a witness earlier this morning?
No.
Yet?
Not
You
yet.
took the oath of office? I
Oh,
mean, the
yes,
oath
yes.
as a witness?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So you understand you're testifying under oath?
Sure, sir.
Yes. And are you affiliated with the Energy Environmental Solutions, Inc., the source testing contractor for the RP1 flares?
Yes, yes.
And how is that? Are you the president of the company?
Yes, I'm the president and CEO and plus also compliance advisor.
Okay. And
Yeah.
is EES a South Coast Air Quality Management District certified testing lab?
Yeah, this is ARB and AQMD both certified lab.
Okay. And can you please describe your educational background and experiences relevant to the source testing being done at the IAUA RP1 facility?
Yes, my education, I did my mechanical engineering from India. Then I did my MS in mechanical engineering from University of Wisconsin. Then I did my MS in civil engineering from Cal State Fullerton. And I am in source testing I got certification from AQMD in 1997. So I will say it will be 28 years of having certification and experience in source testing.
And can you please describe the status of the source testing at the RP1 facility?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes. When we got this job and when we got this protocol, then everything was fine. But then this pH, I saw that, okay, let's talk to atmospheric analysis and, get all equipments. So I called them and they told that, you know what, Ken, we don't do exact way, but I said that, okay, do you do? No, we don't do it in plain language.
Okay, so this is atmospheric analysis and consulting said they couldn't do the testing, the analysis, the sample analysis in the manner required by the protocol.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So were you aware at that point of any other labs that could do that
Actually,
analysis?
yes, actually, let me tell you a few more lines here. That when we used to do air toxic in 2009-10, we had few labs, but slowly and slowly, due to the scope and liabilities, labs are shutting down. So at this stage, I am so surprised to see that not a single lab who can do air toxic testing in at least California.
So you're saying that there were like mergers of labs or acquisitions, or they just went out of business?
They stopped doing it.
Okay.
They stopped doing it.
Okay.
They stopped doing it.
Is PAH testing something that is done commonly?
PAH, not lately.
Okay.
Not lately.
So,
And one more thing, sir, excuse me. For PAH, I was talking to Peter Co. And I asked him that, Peter, as per the method, this after 800 degrees Fahrenheit, you cannot see PAH. And the flare temperature is 2200. So I thought, okay, no. This is semi-requirement due for maximum time, 4 or 5 hours. At least you will see something. I said, okay, that's fine.
okay, so basically, the permit requires that they test for PAH according to method 420, CARB method 429. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
And in consultation with Mr. Coe of the district source testing team, did he identify a lab, an analysis lab that could analyze samples for PAH?
Okay, I worked with Peter Co and he said, oh, no, you can find lab. I said, hold on, which lab? Do you have any names? So then, okay, but I didn't get a proper lab answer name from him, So we had, actually no answer from him about the lab. No answer.
Well, how did you find out about enthalpy?
It's like, okay, then what happened? Then I was talking to somebody or they told that enthalpy can do it. I said, okay, let's do enthalpy. Enthalpy has 4 offices in North Carolina and all offices has same voice message. So I tried everybody and nobody responded that yes. And plus, we haven't even seen them any qualification that they can do PAHs because I went through their qualification package. So then I kept calling them last complete week, me and my secretary, but no responses, So like it is difficult to say if they can do it or not.
So did Mr. Coe advise you that the district would accept analysis results from enthalpy analytics?
Actually, I told him that, Peter, as per the CARB certificate, there is not a single lab who is
Right,
certified.
we know that there are no labs that are certified. I just want to know, did he indicate in an email that would, if the analysis was done by enthalpy in North Carolina, that the district would accept the results?
So I don't think he gave me name of enthalpy. He just said that, oh, any lab can do it and we will accept it. Something like, that like very, very vague answer I got it from him.
Okay. Is enthalpy analytics the only lab you've been able to find that can do the testing that might be acceptable to the district?
Sir, actually, I got their name, but nobody is calling us from there. So unless I talk to them,
Well, right, that's
that's the answer.
that's a scheduling issue, right? So until you can make contact with enthalpy analytics, is it possible for you to begin testing for PAHs?
Yes, sir. Two things are here. If enthalpy calls me, yes, we can do it. Then I will ask him that, okay, have you done this for any company? So I need to know that if they can do it or not. That's my first thing, because anybody can say I can do it, then we are stuck after 2 years when the report get approved. So that's why I have to first talk to enthalpy that, okay, you are doing it. Okay, send me a reference. Then I will say, okay, let's send me equipment, then go from there. That is because I haven't heard that enthalpy has done pH testing until now. I just heard that, yes, he can do it, but I haven't seen the result and I haven't, seen those things.
Okay. How many times have you tried to contact them?
I will say 10 times or 15 times, because this was our first priority, because we have finished all the testing, only pH was there. So rapid, in that speed we call them.
Okay. Okay, once you verify that enthalpy is qualified and can get you the equipment you need, how long will it take to actually do the testing?
Okay, these testings are 4 hours. So one run a day, so 6 runs. So on the paper, it's 6 runs, but I will say 9 days, because sometimes the flare temperature is not there, or, so I will say 9 to 10 days we need to finish this test if I find the lab. 10 days at least.
Okay. So let me find, have you continued to try to contact enthalpy pretty much on a daily basis?
Yes, we are doing it daily basis, because we have a lot of project going on, and we have 90% things are done here. Only this thing left, so we want to wrap it up fast, but we have no lab.
Okay.
We have no lab.
All right. And finally, I just, did you come here today because I requested you to come, even though you have some testing work going on in the field today?
Yes, we are extremely busy nowadays. So we had testing, but this is super important for me.
Okay.
So I came here.
So are you anxious to get this PAH testing done?
Yes, I want to wrap up, the project, and finish it, because that's why that's the first priority for us right now.
Okay.
First priority.
No further questions.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Chavez?
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, can you say what PAH means, testing means?
Polyaromatic hydrocarbons, this is a very, very toxic, air toxic compounds. That's why it came in ARB, because pH was very common 10, 15 years ago. But slowly, it is diminishing. That's why the labs are closing down. And I don't know reason, because I have no answer, but yes, PAH used to be a very high topic. But
Okay.
slowly, this test got request after 5, 6 years. Nobody requested, because it was out from everyone's permit to construct. This thing was out.
Okay.
But yeah,
So Is PAH testing still happening? It's the method that is the problem here?
You know,
Or-
like I will tell you, ma'am, that a method is there. It's happening or not, I don't know. Because if it happened, then lab will exist there because they are not doing it. If they have more business in the lab, why? Because this is very expensive testing, So lab will, say, okay, I will do it. But if there is no business, then why?
Okay. So when you started the testing January 13th week.
Yes, yes.
Did you already know that you were not going to do the PAH testing that week?
No, actually, okay, this whole project is a big project. The project we have, the 2 flares and all toxin compounds, it was a very heavy. So then we kept, okay, keep the pH at last. Let us finish this test. And then we have a lab, because I don't want to keep everything on hold due to pH, So at least finish 90%. So
Okay.
when we're done, then still we have no lab. Then we contact that, guys, we are done, but we have no pH lab. What to do now,
Okay, so you waited till the end to do the PAH testing?
Yes, I kept myself because if you have no lab, then other thing has to be finished, right? So instead of finishing 10%, I finished 90%.
Okay. And how come your lab doesn't do the method 429?
No, actually, we are source testers,
Okay,
and very few source testers. We do 100.1 like NOx and CO. Then all sample we send it to a lab like VOC, because nobody have time to do all these things, putting a chemist and business coming, because there are 100.1 and we have IC engines, we have thermal. So yes, I don't think any source tester has these capabilities.
okay. Is there another method that labs use to to do the PAH?
Okay, ma'am, that's a very good question. And I discussed with Peter Cole. There is a method TO15, which takes sample in Tedlar bag, and you can have 50 compounds, toxic compounds, and PAH was one of that. So Peter said that no, Ken, we don't allow this thing because it is not that accurate. So I told him that, Peter, none of the result will be accurate until we go through QA/QC. So we had only one method which I went through. They do 52 compounds in a Tedlar bag. And PAH was also like, I told Peter that, Peter, take this 429 out. So like he was saying that, no, the 429 is a part of the permit. So I said that this is in your hand, because if we cannot find the lab, then, because by pH, you just want to know the approximation that, okay, how much, but at that high temperature, you will see 0 pH, So taking Tedlar bag, but he said that, no, we have to use 429, because I brought this point to him that we have other method, TO15, why not we use that one? He said, no, Ken, that will be not approved here. I said, that's fine.
Okay. Okay, so at this point, you have not been able to contact the new lab.
Enthalpy, yes.
Okay. And if it's discovered that you are not able to use this lab, will you submit a new source test protocol to the district?
That all depends on the client, what they want, because I will tell them that I cannot find a lab. So now they will tell us, because they have to again do paperwork, that what to do, what not to do.
Okay.
Because for pH, I spoke with Peter. I said, Peter, the limit is 800 degrees Fahrenheit. The stack is 2200. He said, okay, then do it longer for. So I will do. So yes, it is as per me. That's what this pH has gone out for the flares and your toxic this, because after certain temperature you will see nothing there. You will see non-detectable. No. So that's why. But again, I will say we can find a lab, but take it out from the permit. It is not our, not our job,
Okay.
But this flare can get permit without pH. That I can assure you, because we have done other flares and pH was not there, So again, Why pH is here, I have no clue.
Okay. Okay, and so 90% done with the whole source test. Is PAH the only aspect
Yes,
missing?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I have no further questions. Thank you.
All right,
May I have some on redirect, please?
sure, absolutely. Go right ahead, Mr. Coleman.
Thank you. The email, Exhibit 7 with the email chain in it, email threads. I see that there's one you sent on January, so this is on page 2 over to page 3, you sent to Peter Coe on January 16th, proposing EPA method TO15.
Yes, that's right.
And is that the method you were just describing a moment ago?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And Mr. Coe replied saying that, no, that would not be
Yes,
acceptable.
exactly.
Okay. And that would be the next email up. And did he also confirmed, did he also, Mr. Coe, I mean, in that email, indicate that he too agreed there were no CARB approved contractors for method 429?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Yes.
Okay, that's all I have. I may recall Ms. Jacinto for a little clarification, but that's all I have for Mr. Kumar right now.
Well, Mr. Coleman, we really want to move through this case, so, I understand you, but I want to get through and we want to get out of here. So if you need to clarify, I'd rather you clarify it now,
Okay.
because we're going on downhill.
I just have one question.
Go right
for her.
ahead.
Can you come up, Sarah?
I'm done.
They probably want to ask you some questions.
Sure. Please come on. It's good.
Wait, so, hold on. Because I thought you had questions for him. I didn't realize you had questions for her. I thought
Oh,
you.
I'm sorry. I was done with Mr. Kumar.
Oh, okay, then fair enough. Then members of the board, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
when you referenced.
I'm sorry.
Redirect. All
I see. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
right, members of the hearing board, any questions of the gentleman?
I do have some question for Mr.
Please.
Kumar. Mr. Kumar, now pH, your company has tested flares, boilers,
Yes,
engines in the
yes.
past, and analyzed for pH.
Yes.
When was the last time you tested for pH, your company?
207, 208.
It's not that pH has disappeared.
Sir, like that, our job depends on the permit conditions.
Right.
What job we got, what permit condition, then we do the job. But last we have done the pH in 2, and after that time, there is no request on pH to
Okay.
us.
Are you saying that the condition to test for pH has been removed? Or in your opinion, because I see it here in the permit that is issued, and I think I've seen in other permits for flares and boilers looking for pH and AB 2588 testing. you
Yes,
look
sir,
for pH.
yes, that was Peter Coe's answer, that we just want for the, other, your AB 2588 things, because the pH, means AQMD wants to take the result and do other things too, right? They want to put the compliance. They also want to see the, national and EPA stuff. So I don't know why they want pH.
Okay. Let me ask you about atmospheric analysis and consulting in
Please.
Ventura. Now, you said what is their issue with them in analyzing for pH?
Okay, so I got the protocol. So then I said that, okay, it's happening. So I take it easy. But when I call the Dr. Sucha Palamar, he is that place CEO and chemist. He said that we don't do it, but we do it other way. I say, watch other way. So no, you know what? We don't do it. We don't use CARB 20, CARB 29. So I said, okay, then who is doing it? Then I said that, why did you say that? No, I might have told them, but that is none of my That is none of my concern. I asked him and he said no. So that's it.
So they cannot analyze?
Yes, yeah.
Or,
They cannot do it.
the sampling is done by you, your
Yes,
company.
yes, yes.
The analysis is done by the lab.
Yes, sir, like our, sir, the sampling is our part and, and analysis is the lab part, So that's the problem here. We can do sampling, but sample will be sitting down there if we have no labs.
So let me ask you, what's the solution if you're not getting any response from enthalpy? You 10 times, so there's likelihood they're ignoring you potentially, or why is the reason why you're not, you're getting response from?
Sir, the way I understood that enthalpy has opened because they have 4 or 5 offices there, but they have same answering machine, same voice they have on all and nobody in the office. So it's hard for me to say, that what is going on there. It is not that they're public there. All 4 or 5 numbers has same voice message. Same voice message.
Okay, so my question is, the board is going to grant an interim, a short variance for 90 days. What is the likelihood you'll get something, a testing done for pH?
So actually, sir, I will still try to see enthalpy because we haven't talked to them yet. If they say yes, I will do it. I say, okay. My first question is that this is for a compliance test. Have you done it for somebody? He said, yes, we have done it for these guys. Okay. I know a lot of people. If I confirm those things, then I ask them that how many days it will take to send me all equipments, because these equipments are very, very sophisticated equipments. So then I have to also see my schedule because I cannot keep waiting for this project because we are also very busy, So like.
Okay, thank you for that. The question is, if no, what steps are you going to take then?
Sir, if you have no lab, then I will call them that, guys, I haven't found the lab because that is not my area, If I can't find the lab, then that's it.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you at this point, you don't know whether you can complete the test or not.
Yes. To be like very frankly, no, I don't know because I haven't talked to them yet,
Okay.
So.
All right. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any additional questions from members of the board? All right, your next witness.
He's my final witness, except for Ms.
Okay,
Jacinto. I
let's
wanted
go.
to ask her one question.
Perfect. All right, we'll definitely bring her back up.
Please.
Ms. Jacinto, you understand you're still under oath, right?
Yes.
Did you?
Wait, I'm sorry, sir. You want to take a seat?
Yeah, you can sit.
Want to take a seat?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very kindly.
Did you investigate whether any of your peers, in other words, any other wastewater treatment facilities, had similar permit conditions requiring source testing for PAHs?
Yes.
Okay. And did you find out that Eastern Municipal Water District also had a similar source testing requirement?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, were you advised that Enthalpy Analytics was the lab they used for PAH analysis?
Yes.
Okay. So based on that, it's your belief that Enthalpy can do the analysis, or is it your belief that Enthalpy can do the analysis and that apparently that would be accepted by the district?
Yes.
Okay. So it's just a matter of hounding Enthalpy to get a response?
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Chavez, on a redirect.
Thanks. How long ago was that source test?
Cross a
complete-
minute, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes. How long ago was that source test completed, if you know?
2023.
Okay. And any other testing that you're aware of from Empathy?
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions of the members of the hearing board? All right. So-
Okay, I just have Mr. Cambioso to testify that the conditions are acceptable.
I thought that was your last witness.
I'm sorry. Which,
Right. Okay, let's go ahead.
Mr. Cambioso, state your name and spell your name for the record.
Sure.
Pietro Cambiaso, Pietro Cambiaso.
And you were sworn earlier today as a witness?
Yes,
And are you authorized to advise the hearing board and agree that the conditions proposed by the district staff are acceptable?
yes,
And do you agree that those conditions, if imposed in the variance, are acceptable?
yes.
That's all I have here.
Chavez on cross.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. So we heard testimony that it's likely, or we have reason to believe that the source test, the lab in North Carolina will be able to do the test. But in the case that we can't get a hold of them or they do not want to do the test, what would be your next plan? Would you abide by condition 1 and seek a revised protocol?
That's one of the options, the condition, therefore we may do that.
Okay,
Yes,
and that would be to test under a different method?
we will discuss with the AQMD staff and agree on a method they recommended. So most likely be that one
Okay,
and submit a new protocol for approval.
okay. Thank you.
Sure.
No further questions?
Members of the hearing board.
Just a quick follow-up on that. Besides the source testing, is it something that if you cannot find any lab that can do the analysis for a pH, is that something that also you may look at a permit revision?
That's an option as well. So
That's
we,
okay.
as long as considered in the condition, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any further questions? All right, why don't we go ahead and take about, how much time do you think you need to caucus?
10 minutes?
Okay, so we'll come back. We're off the record until 10:55 a.m.
If I can direct you, 42351, Health and Safety Code Section 42351B.
And so just to be very clear, hold on one second, Mr. Day, before we go offline and off the record. So Mr. Polakaplan, your contention is they cannot essentially extend between the various variances, and Mr. Coleman's argument is they in fact can. Just want to be real clear.
It's, okay, let me put it, it's not my contention, it's the practice of the board in all the cases that come before us, as far as I'm aware of, that you don't give a variance, you count the date of the interim for the duration of the short or the regular variance.
Okay, so what I want us to agree upon is you're gonna look at the law, not the practice. Because practice is one thing, but with the codified rule, as well as that of the board, hold on one second, please. And that for which is written, that's what we're gonna hang our hat on, not the practice. Any
And I-
additional comments, from members of the board, relative to that point?
I just want to make sure that we understand that whether or not the short variance period supersedes the interim. And I think that was where the discussion was started, and we wanted clarification on that.
And I just cited the Health and Safety Code Section
I know that, I know
42351B.
that. Yes.
So it counts from the date of the interim variance. And when I say practice, that's how we've been following, because that's in the Health and Safety Code.
Okay, so we'll go off the record until 10:56, 10:57. And then we'll come back and we'll move forward. All right, we're off the record. Good morning. We're back on the record at 10:58 a.m. Okay, we're back on the record at 10:58 a.m. All right.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have conferred. I have reviewed the applicable variance related statutes. I see how the current interpretation of the provisions regarding variances for 90 days, including a series of variances up to 90 days, has led to this interpretation. So we are not contesting what the proposal by Mr. Balagopalan. Because of that, apparently the 90 days from the date of the prior hearing would take us through March 4th, and we are hopeful that that will give us the time we need to get this taken care of, get the testing done. And obviously, if we can get it done before then, we will do that. I guess you can call this my closing statement, because I know you would like to move things along here. So we would request that the variance be granted through March 4th with the conditions as proposed by the district. You'll have our assurances that we will keep dogging the company in North Carolina and get this moved through to completion.
All right, Ms. Chavez.
Yes, thank you. Subject to the proposed conditions that the district has submitted, the district would not oppose the variance being granted today. Thank you.
All right, down to deliberation. Would like to take a swing first, Mr. Balagopalan.
Yes, I don't have a problem granting the short variance for 90 days to March 3rd, by the way, Mr. Coleman, just to be, 90 days from March, December 4th. It was December 4th, and so it'll be 90 days, it'll be March 3rd.
My calculator says March 4th.
Okay. But anyway.
Okay. It's Monday or Tuesday, whatever.
Yes, yeah. I think the problem is, hopefully they get resolved. They find a company that can test for pH, do the analysis for pH. I find it, I think they do have a challenge ahead of them, finding a company that can do pH testing, or going back to the district, giving data maybe from Mr. Kumar's company or other testing done for pH at high temperature where there's non-detect, and convincing the district to remove that condition. Either way, it might take some time. It looks like Mr. Kumar was not able to get hold of anybody. The likelihood, let's hope he's successful, but and at the same time, I think there might be, the source testing group. I did see from the email to Mr. Ko is retiring, so he might not be available, but I'm sure his manager and so forth, they know the issue. They probably somebody will work with CARB with a solution, because pH, my understanding, is always found in combustion processes. You have combustion, a boiler, an engine, flares, Now I don't have the data to show at this high temperature that it disappears and it's non-detect. And if there's data to show this non-detect, I'm sure the district is willing to look at that and maybe revise the permit accordingly, but they have to have ample evidence to do that. So the work is cut out for the company, i.e. AU, to convince the district on that condition. So hopefully the 90 days, not 90 days anymore, the time for him is sufficient, but if not, you can always come back for a modification. So if further time is needed. So so I don't have any problem in making the sixth finding in granting the short variance at this point.
Any additional comments, members of the board? Ms. Verdugo-Peralta.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I also don't have a problem granting the variance. However, I would highly recommend two things, actually. One, that you keep on knocking on the door of that one company relentlessly. And number two, keep on looking for another company and contact the other utilities water, wastewater utilities and similar types of requirements of companies like that and see what they've done, who they've contacted. Because it just doesn't make sense to me that there's only one company in the entire United States that does this. And how are the other utilities being able to get through this? They have to be using somebody. So I would highly recommend that the search you keep on searching. But other than that, I have no problem granting the variance.
All right, any additional comments? All right, in the matter of Inland Empire Utilities Agency case number 5209-6, I move that we grant a short variance commencing January 28th, 2025 through March 4th, 2025 from the following rules and subsections. The rules in question are 203B and 3002C for petitioner's equipment and permit, etc., referenced in Exhibit B. The conditions, the address is also referenced in Exhibit B with facility ID number 009163. The conditions are set forth in Exhibit B. The petitioner shall pay applicable fees as outlined in Exhibit B. Notify the clerk accordingly. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
By Ms. Perdugo-Peralta. Any further question or discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Dr. Abraham.
Aye.
Perdugo-Peralta.
Aye.
Mr. Valaka-Palam. Mr. Perriman.
Aye.
Ali votes in the affirmative. You guys have a phenomenal morning. Unanimous decision. We look forward to seeing you. Perhaps we won't see you.
We look forward to not seeing you.
Happy New Year. And Mr. Day, we are off the record and adjourned at 11:04.